Well, 2.5 pages wouldn't be a long chapter, but yes, we do the 2, 3, 4 pages. I don't know. I mean, look, it's my style. I think it'd be a disaster if everybody wrote that way. But I have a unique style. I was on a panel one time in New York, and the other four writers took themselves pretty seriously. But the moderator said, you know what's interesting? Patterson's the only one of you guys that has a style that's unique. You know. So it's my style. It's not for everybody, and it'd be a disaster if everybody wrote that way. But it's the way I like to communicate. It's scenes. Michael Connolly, who's a very good mystery writer, he says what Jim does is he says every single chapter. I don't always succeed, but I try. Every single chapter moves both the characterization and the action forward, and turns on the movie projectors in our heads. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Man, one of the coolest things that I've seen was back in the day, James Patterson had a commercial on TV. Now think about it. Most authors only had commercials, much less one on TV. But this dude he came on there and said, hey, I got a new book coming out about James Patterson. That's right, James Patterson. He said that himself, man. That is Jamaican level arrogance. What up, y'all? I'm Christopher Markland, and got to say, James Patterson, I think, hit the nail on the head. Longer isn't always better. I kind of agree. Yeah, I know, obvious jokes aside, that's not necessarily what it's about, but real talk, I think that a shorter chapter is better. I mean, I just do. Now, he says he thinks it would be a disaster if more people wrote that way. However, I don't necessarily think that's so. And the reason being, when it comes to art, in our society as it is right now, things are getting shorter. For instance, Instagram. All right, if you're watching this video on Instagram, think about it. The most videos are right around a minute long, if not shorter, right? You have to go to IGTV if you want to watch a longer format video. The reason being, Instagram wants you to keep scrolling, and we've been kind of, I hate to say it, programmed as a society to watch a nice short clip, boom, scroll on to the next one. If it doesn't lock our interest in the first, like, say 15 seconds, it's on to the next one. The same thing with, just look at music. What's the artist? DaBaby. He actually said in an interview that he starts his music off that as soon as the track starts, he starts rapping. The reason why? People aren't listening to those long intros like what we had back in the day. You remember that one song, my name is Larry, I'm a Capricorn, or whatever the hell it was. But it took about 30 minutes. Or you remember, what's her name, Betty Wright? She'd have a darn 45-minute long monologue before she actually gets to the music. You think that kind of music would fly in this society? Hell no. You got to get in, get out, and that should be the same with your writing. YouTube, all right? Their videos usually are anywhere from 10 minutes or less. And if it's longer, guess what? YouTube jumps in, breaks up the video to every 3 or 4 minutes, and now it's broken down into why is my cat meowing right now? I mean, come on, cat. Here it is. What time is it? It's 1:35 in the morning. This cat is darn. Anyway, let me get back at it. Basically, what YouTube will do is they would shorten their videos, not shorten videos, excuse me. They would jump in, put a commercial in every so often to break it up. What that does for them, it adds revenue, but it also re-engages the viewer when the commercial ends, or it forces the viewer to hit, them 5 seconds skip ad, right? But it reinforces and re-engages the viewer. So, but think about it. He also said in that clip that we just watched, the interview that he did, was that a chapter needs to move the story, and that's why he's as good as he is. He's able to move the story. He's able to, create the tension with the characters. Whether it's the protagonist or the antagonist, he's able to do all of those things. He's creating a drama. He's heightening tension. He gets in, gets out. Now I don't know how he does that in 2.5 pages cut, but that's why he's James Patterson. That's why he is I don't know how many bestsellers this dude has under his belt. Now, true enough, a lot of that is, he has co-writers, but that's another story. So you don't have to shorten your book either. Just because you have shorter chapters doesn't mean you need to have a shorter book. For instance, with my first book, Desperately Seeking Exclusivity, it had 35 chapters plus an epilogue, so a total of 36 chapters. My second book, Desperately Seeking Pleasure, it had 30 chapters. My third book, the one that's in progress, I want to say it's got right at 30 chapters. I swear, this cat, man. But anyway, it's got right at 30 chapters. So what that means is each one of my books has roughly 8 chapters, but 8 chapters per character. What I mean by that is all of my books have 4 characters in each one. Usually it's 2 guys, 2 girls. So what that does, or 2 women, excuse me. So what that does is basically with 8 chapters per character, you have 4 short stories in the book. That's my style, just like what James Patterson said. Everyone has their style, and I know that I write mine in order. My style is I write my books in order to fit today's society. Okay, so because I have four characters, 8 chapters per character, and each character's world is kind of intertwined, I'm able to keep the story moving, keep it nice and short, and I keep my reader's attention at this level as opposed to it going constantly, or they start reading and then their attention span wanes because they have a 10-page chapter. No. Maybe, when you're reading some Shakespeare back in the day, it doesn't work with today's audience. Let me know if you agree. If you're a reader, do you prefer longer chapters, longer books? Do you prefer shorter chapters, shorter books? Or any combination they're in. If you're a writer, what's your style? Let me know in the comment section. Do you write longer chapters? Do you write shorter chapters? I'd love to know. All right. And always though, y'all, keep writing. See y'all next time. Stay determined.